Wells, Adams and Sarah Hyland get married. Katie Thurston reveals why she and John Hersey broke up. And Michelle Young announces she is making a big move. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Shared News Bachelor update. I'm your host, Blakely McHugh, and here to break down all of the Bachelor Nation headlines this week is Zachary Reality and Allison Van Dam, some of my two favorite people to do panels with. How are you guys today?
Oh, that's so sweet. I wish I could say the same about you. But I'm glad that Allison is here. No, I'm literally kidding. I'm so happy to dish on the tea with you.
You better be, Zach.
These are interesting stories we have today, so I'm kind of excited to hear everyone's thoughts, because Bachelor Nation is booming and popping these days, and especially with the finale coming in a few weeks with Rachel and Gabby's season. There's just a lot going on.
Allison, are you excited to be on this panel with me?
I am always excited to be on any panel with you, Blakely. I'm always excited to text you. I'm always excited to edit you. I'm always excited to ask you for some hair tips. So let me just provide the love and affirmation that we all lack from Zachary Reality.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, well, enough about us. Let's get into Wells Adams and Sarah Hyland's wedding, because it was everything of the sort. Zach, can you just kind of give people a quick overview of their relationship, kind of how we got here?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they met. And I saw this, posted on Twitter, is that she actually tweeted him years ago when Wells was first announced to be the Bachelor in Paradise bartender. He was asking for bar backs, which is an assistant bartender who gets the ice, cuts the limes. I did it for 2 months in college. It was exhausting. But she actually tweeted him and was asking if to be the bar back, because she's a huge fan of The Bachelor. So I guess they were able to connect. I mean, Wells is a radio host. He works a lot, in LA in the entertainment industry, just like Sarah. So they were able to connect, and they got, engaged pretty quickly after they dated for a couple years. And then they were engaged for 3 years, but had to postpone their wedding a couple times because of COVID. Sarah is very sensitive to COVID and, whatever. So they were never able to get married until this weekend. They finally did.
Yeah. So to clarify, I believe that she was of high risk for contracting it, and then also it being really detrimental to her health. Of course, what she has is not coming to the top of my mind right now, but exactly what you said, Zach. So yeah, obviously now we're here. They have gotten married after having to postpone their wedding a few different times. So they got married in Santa Ynez, California, at a beautiful vineyard winery. Sarah actually wore 2 different Vera Wang dresses, one for her ceremony, the other for the reception. And then she had 2 more outfit changes for the after party, which honestly, I would not expect anything less from her or from this wedding. It looked like Nick Vial, Joe Amabile, I think I'm going to pronounce their last names wrong, Ben Higgins, Chris Scholes, Grocery Store Joe, that's all that matters. Jason Tartick was there. Even Chris Harrison was in attendance. And I've got to be honest, I bet the Bachelor people were just quaking, because Sofia Vergara was there, Nina Dobrev, Shaun White, the rest of the Modern Family cast was there. I mean, I would be just dying if I was at this wedding. So I need to know, what did you guys have, I'm sure, have seen the photos. What did you think of her outfits, of the wedding overall? Zach, if you want to take it away first.
Oh my God, the wedding looked fabulous. I would have loved to be at that wedding if they needed a flower girl or whatever. I mean, that is a stacked guest list. That's like going to the Oscars of reality TV meets actors. It's just the combining of both worlds and both icons from each franchise. It looked like a beautiful wedding. And I also want to point out that they actually got married at the Sunstone Winery, which is the same place JoJo and Jordan got married just 2 months ago. Oh. So it looks like that's a pretty popular wedding venue. So I'm going to add it to my list if I ever get married, maybe in 10 years, because it looks beautiful for both of their weddings.
Yeah, this was definitely the event of the century, or for sure the year. I feel like no detail was too small. And Wells has talked about that too. He always joked, why did they even get a wedding planner? Because Sarah was so involved in every step of the way. So I think she's really detail oriented. Wells is really into the food. So you combine the two of them and they're going to create an amazing event. And I mean, it seemed like no detail was too small. I've heard the place cards for the dinner, like each individual name card was in its own envelope with like a wax seal on it. Like there was just so many tiny details that created this elaborate day. She obviously had like 4 different changes. So I'm like, did she even greet any of her guests, or was she just constantly changing into the next dress? But I mean, no detail was overlooked. No, nothing was too small. And it just looked like an amazing day. And I think more than anything, like you could just see how happy the two of them were after 3 years of being engaged. This is their 3rd wedding date that they've tried to set. So I'm just really happy for them.
I have to be honest, I was anticipating like a little bit bigger of a wedding. It kind of looked, I don't want to call it small. It wasn't small by any means. They put on a beautiful production in a wedding, but I was expecting there to be like hundreds and hundreds of people. Anybody else?
Blakely, No, we just talked about how she was like high risk for COVID. Like even now that the world is like kind of back to normal, like, and of course they only want their close friends and family there, Blakely. Otherwise we would have been invited. Okay. It was a very exclusive guest list. It made Vogue. It was like a big thing.
Yes.
And we're going to have to make it to the next one. And I also got this idea. I was like, Allison is going to end up going to Nick Viall's wedding. And we're going to be so jealous of her because these bachelor weddings look so much fun.
I volunteer as tribute as your +1, Allison.
I'll fight you for that.
I was just about to say I'm going to make a competition.
I will fight you for it.
Allison, if you're a guest at this wedding, are you trying to go talk to Sophia or Nina or Shaun White, or are you keeping to yourself?
I don't think so, only because I feel like in that world, you like can't, despite like you dying inside, I feel like fan behavior is something no one wants. And I feel like, especially an event like this, where it feels like everyone there is probably at least somebody. I mean, obviously like the Sofia Vergara's of the world are like much more of a household name, but it's like, if you're going to 2 very famous people's wedding, I think you just have to like make it a deal with yourself that you're going to like just chill girl the whole thing, even if you're freaking out inside.
That's what I say to myself when I go to red carpets. I'm not a fan. I'm an equal.
I mean, I love that you guys take that approach. I mean, I'm just like, I'm a professional fan. Like I have made a career off of being a fan of all of these people and all of these shows. So, I mean, I just have to own who I am. And, you know, I
love that.
I would be freaking out.
Zach is going to be walking around this reception with one of those little autograph books from Disney World and like a pen. And get everyone.
I'll have the TikTok mic. I'll be walking around like I would become the reporter of the wedding. I would cover it.
Oh my gosh, that's too funny. Okay, guys, I think we're gonna put wedding to rest, and we're gonna go to breakup news. Although not so much breakup news, but more information into the breakup between Katie Thurston and her and John Hersey. So she recently went on Off the Vine where she revealed the reasoning behind their split. Now, we already know that John had broken up with her. I believe that she posted that on her Instagram story like a little while ago in a question and answer or something like that. But now she's revealing that John ended it because he didn't believe that Katie shared the same passions as him. So I want to read her direct quote that she said to Caitlin Bristow. She said, quote, "He said, I just really need someone who can enjoy my passions and who wants to watch me surf, maybe learn to surf with me." And she goes, "I look at him and go, quote, you realize I jumped out of an effing plane 3 times, twice solo, skydiving to join him in his passions." Okay, so before I go further into the rest that she said on the podcast, does anybody want to watch their significant other surf?
Absolutely. If my boyfriend's going to be fine AF, of course I'm going to want to watch him surf all day long.
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, like, I love watching a partner do what they do best. I think that's like very attractive to watch them just like go off and kill it. Absolutely. I'll be sitting on the beach with a bottle of rosé being like, you go, babe. You're killing it.
Exactly.
Okay, love your
attitude.
attitudes.
Do it together.
I don't know why. For some reason, him, like, if somebody just said to me, I want you to watch me surf. I don't know. It just feels like I might, like, laugh in their face a little bit. It's just kind of
Well, it should be like, do you want to surf with me? Like, I think that's what John is trying to say to Katie, is that he's looking for someone
100%.
who would share his passions with him. And it almost sounds like Katie was maybe only doing things to make him happy. Like, it doesn't seem like she wanted to jump out of that plane, where I think John might be looking for someone that, like, would be like, yes, let's jump out of this plane. I want to do it too. Yeah, and I love that Katie was devoted to
100%.
John, and I think that's how it seemed on the podcast. I listened to it, but I think that what he was missing, what he expressed to her, is that they might just not have as much in common.
Yeah. So then she said that she realized kind of after that moment that nothing that she did or would do would be good enough for him. She also revealed that this wasn't the first time they broke up. They'd actually had broken up a time before this, just nobody knew about it, and they tried to reconcile. Basically, I believe it was over the same concerns. My question is, because they were friends beforehand, I mean, they have been steadfast that, you know, she didn't cheat on Blake at all, that they were just friends. You know, wouldn't he have known what her passions and interests were from the get-go, and why wasn't that an issue until you got into the relationship, Allison?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And honestly, even from that initial quote of him saying, you know, I want someone who wants to serve with me and stuff like that, I hear that. Do I think that's like the nail in the coffin of a relationship? No. And that statement it reads to me as someone who might actually have deeper concerns, but doesn't want to hurt their partner. I think oftentimes in breakups, we want to soften the blow, and we come up with reasons, whether it be, you know, distance or all these other factors where, you know, things that you knew about from the get-go. And I'm with you. He would have known about her passions and her personality from the get-go. It just screamed to me as, you know, maybe John's trying to be a nice guy, let her off easy, put something out there that isn't a direct offense to her or her character. I think there's more beneath the surface. There's more underneath the ocean, if you will.
You don't think it was like the Q&As? Is that what it was that turned him off? The spilling tea and Q&As? He didn't want to say that?
Maybe he didn't want to be on the next days of messy. He was trying to keep things amicable.
There was a lot of days. There's been a lot of days of messy. And maybe he should have said that. You know, it kind of seems like they might still need a conversation. I mean, this podcast that she did was just like a week or so ago, but they broke up 2 months ago. Mm-hmm. Katie said she's in a better place. But maybe they could use one more closure conversation. She also said that they're on okay terms. Like, she offered to watch his dog, and that he's also paying her back for the van that she bought him.
So you listened to the whole thing, Zach. So what was kind of your takeaway from it?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of seemed like John was the one that kind of ended it. I guess they were iffy for a while, but it seems like it was really John's decision. And, you know, Katie kind of laughed, I guess, a little bit about how, like, you know, she got with John so quickly and he helped her find this apartment for her and Blake originally. And I'm sure a lot of Bachelor fans are like, of course, this is what happens when you date someone that you were friends with, that you just got out of an engagement with. Like, the whole thing just was such a whirlwind. Yeah. And I think Katie is just really excited to be by herself, independent. She's moving into a new place this week. And I think that her and John are going to be fine. I mean, I thought they had a lot in common, but I guess from this podcast, they were really growing apart for a minute. And it maybe have just been like the whirlwind of like The Bachelor and everything that kept them together. So, you know, it doesn't seem like there's bad blood between them. So I wish them both the best.
I think whirlwind is a great way to describe it, because wasn't it only 6 months?
6 months, and just like the way they started, like I mentioned, it was just so fast and crazy.
Yeah. Allison, any last thoughts before we move on?
No, I mean, I hope Katie's doing well. I think she does need some time by herself being independent, which it sounds like she's going to take. It really did seem like she jumped, and while I'm not anyone of, you know, emotional or physical cheating, it really did seem like she quickly jumped from Blake to John. And she probably just needs some time to even process her season. You know, she ended her season with Blake. She jumped right into things with John. She hasn't been single since before she was the Bachelorette, or I guess even before like Matt James's season. She needs a second to breathe.
I agree wholeheartedly. Well, another woman who's taking a second to breathe is Michelle Young, because she is actually moving to LA. So maybe she's not taking a second to breathe. She's probably going to be really busy with moving across the country. But I absolutely did not see this news coming at all, especially because Nate announced, or he did move to LA, I believe, just last month. So it's been a month since he moved there. Now she's moving there. She did do an Ask Me Anything on her Instagram. So she said one of the reasons why she's a big part of one of the reasons why she was moving is so that her and Becca can record Bachelor Happy Hour in studio together. So she said that'll just be so much better. And then she also said that she's looking forward to California winters versus Minnesota winters, which I don't blame her. This whole thing is a little bit confusing to me, and it's making me backtrack a little bit. I think her and Nate had to have been maybe like emotionally separated for much longer, because they put off moving together. They put off choosing a location because of each other's jobs and families, etc. You know, there was all of these excuses onto why they were still doing long distance and why they couldn't live together and why they couldn't choose a city. X, Y, and Z, the alphabet goes on. And then literally 2 months after they break up, they're now moving. Now they're both okay with moving, and they're moving to the exact same city. Why couldn't you have done that months ago? I'm a little bit,
you can't make this up. Like, it's just absolutely hilarious that they got engaged, made us think that they were lasting forever. They got $200,000 for a house, and instead of using that money for a house, they both decided to move to LA to work in the entertainment industry separately. I mean, you really can't make it up. I don't think they're going to get back together. I think that Michelle will probably, I don't think Michelle will also stay in LA for a while. I personally think she's moving because she's going to do Dancing with the Stars. That hasn't been announced yet. I could be so wrong, but I just feel like that's what's going to make sense. So I feel like Michelle might only be moving to LA for like a year. I don't feel like she'll put her roots down here. Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure there was so many other reasons Nate and Michelle broke up. And of course we want to support both of them. I wonder why they broke up. It sounds like we're never going to find out, and they're never going to tell us. And maybe what they gave us was a BS answer.
Yeah. I also just think like the timing, she came right off her season. She was still trying to teach. She just recently like finished teaching at the end of the school year. Like there wasn't a time for her to move during that period. She then got Bachelor Happy Hour. She then decided she wasn't going to be a teacher. I don't think she could have made this move any sooner. And I'm not sure even she anticipated, you know, really finding this big of a home in Bachelor Nation, throwing herself so fully into entertainment, into social media. I mean, this is the woman who didn't even have an Instagram until before she went on the show. And so I think it's just her whole life has kind of transformed. She was born and raised in Minnesota. You know, I don't know if she ever saw this happening for her. So I'm like, run with it, girl. Like now is your time to kind of, I mean, as someone who left Minnesota for the winters are a lot better. So yeah, I can see her coming out here for a few years and then maybe heading back to the Midwest if she wants to, you know, more seriously raise a family, or maybe she'll find a guy out here that wants to move back to the Midwest. Who knows? It's ironic that they're both moving here, but also it's a gigantic city. We'd be like, it'd be just like them moving to New York. And I think a lot of people are moving to LA, just like we saw a lot of people move to San Diego. We just heard that Susie's moving here. You know, Clayton's going to Scottsdale, but maybe he'll join at some point too. Like LA is basically a county. Like, I don't think they're going to be running into each other anytime soon unless they start running in the same circle.
I do. I think they're going to run into each other.
Well, I was going to ask that because they kind of do run in the same circle. Like, are we going to get some awkward run-ins? I'm curious how that's going to go down.
I just hope I'm there. I literally hope there's an event that all three of us are invited to, and or some type of carpet or whatever, and that we're all there. I hope I'm there for it. I think they're going to run into each other at some point. I don't think they're going to be seeing each other every week, but I do think that they'll cross paths once or twice. And I like what you said, Allison, because like Michelle truly, like this has been like a journey for her, and we've all been invested in her a lot, especially her post Nate, which is why I want to see her on Dancing with the Stars, because I think she does have a story to be told. So it'll be interesting to see what she does next. Because I think she is a Minnesota girl at heart, and I think that's why a lot of people connected to her, because how connected she was to her own, you know, state and Midwestern side of her.
I'm also curious if Michelle is throwing some shade at Nate, because again, on that Ask Me Anything prompt on Instagram, I don't know if you guys were paying attention or went through that, but somebody asked her what her stress reliever has been over the last few months. She posted a clip of her singing My Happy Ending by Avril Lavigne, and she specifically posted the part where she's singing in the song, says, all this time you were pretending, so much for my happy ending. Yeah.
Love it. That's a great song. I love Avril Lavigne.
No, it is, but it is. Did she post that specific clip on purpose? I don't feel like Michelle is that like strategic, but I don't know. Sometimes you want to say something to your ex without saying something to them.
But she blocked him. He's not going to see it.
How do we know she blocked him?
Because she
Allison,
unfollowed
it
him and then
doesn't
attacked her.
She's a public figure. We're covering it. He could pick up a copy of magazine. It's not like normal people.
Well, I think
I
that
don't know.
it's probably just like, I don't think it's that serious that I think, and I also think she is getting her happy ending at the end of this. Like, she's killing it right now. She has a lot of opportunity ahead of her.
Call out. It could be about Nate, sure. I don't think it's specifically about that. Like, she might just like be forced to laugh about all this. Like, talk about a woman who went on right reasons. She wanted to get married, get a house, start raising a family, you know, emulate her parents' relationship. What in the Midwest, in Minnesota, that's what she always said. And so maybe this is just her way of lightheartedly saying, just as we've been saying all panel, no one could have predicted this. This is so much for her quote unquote happy ending that maybe wouldn't have been so happy because now she has a completely new life. So maybe she's just kind of laughing at, like, it's like the whole thing of like when you make plans, God laughs or whatever. Like, I think it's just her being lighthearted and saying like, I'm on a completely new track and like, haha to me for thinking that I had it all figured out because now I'm on a completely different journey.
I love that.
Agreed.
And by the way, I mean, what girl doesn't rock out to like some Avril Lavigne or like Kelly Clarkson after you've just gone through like a breakup? Like, maybe there's not actually meaning behind it, but like those songs make you feel something.
Absolutely. Avril Lavigne always hits.
Always hits. All right, you guys, we want to know what your thoughts on everything that we talked about. What did you think about Wells and Sarah's wedding? What did you think about what Katie had to say on the podcast about her and John's breakup? And about Michelle's move? What's going on here? Let us know down in the comment section what your thoughts are. But of course, before you do that, make sure you hit the subscribe button, ring that bell so you never miss any of our future Bachelor updates, entertainment news updates. You know we cover it all here on Shared News. And give this video a thumbs up. I'm your host, Blakely McHugh with Zachary Reality and Allison Van Dam. You can see our social media handles on the screen. Drop by, give us a follow, and say hello. And we will see you next time.
Bye.